So yeah, it's been a very interesting, really past 24 hours. I guess really it's a little bit longer than 24 hours because the event happened almost a week or so ago, but I guess somebody heard it and somebody started talking about it, and now these websites are talking about it. All these big YouTube channels that I don't even necessarily watch, but they're starting to pick up on the story, and people are sending me links left and right, and I'm just like, wow, there's a lot of controversy surrounding this. So I figured I would make my own little video because I mean, all these people are making money off of a topic that happened on my show. So I might as well be able to talk about it, sort of explain everything about it, and then just, enjoy it, relish in the moment because, it's funny to me. It's funny to me because it, of course, involves the Spawncast after show, which I have a live channel, which you may or may not know of. I'll have a link to it in the description box down below and in the pinned comment. But basically, I try to go live on there Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday nights after the Spawncast. Well, Tuesdays and Thursdays usually don't happen. It's usually one of those 2 days because I don't know, there might be a Knicks game on or something. I'm wearing the same clothes as the Black Friday video because it's currently 1 in the morning and the Knicks game just finished. They're on a West Coast trip, but they won. So I'm in a good mood. So I was like, I'll go ahead and shoot this video. But the reason I made that show, the Spawncast after show, is honestly I took inspiration from one of my favorite podcasts, which is Weapon Wheel Podcast. I really enjoy the Weapon Wheel Podcast. It's just a bunch of people who like different sorts of video games that come together and they, talk crap to each other, crack jokes on each other, this, that, and the other. But they have something called Weapon Wheel After Dark, which is just like completely unhinged. And I saw that and I was like, you know what? It would be cool if we had something like that for the Spawncast because while in my videos, I feel like you get kind of an inkling of who I am as a person. Most of the other people on the Spawncast, like, you really don't. Like, they're very, just more so by the books. They don't really let a personality or something shine. Like, you might know what they like in video games, but you don't really know about them as a person. So in my mind, I thought, it would be cool. It would be cool to have an after show where it's like, yeah, if somebody gives a donation and wants to ask something about a specific game or something, we could talk about that. Or, just a bunch of people who talk to each other a lot off camera can shoot the shit on camera was essentially what I wanted to do with this. And I never thought that like a big breaking story would come from it, especially because a lot of the times it's just debauchery. They always say, I know Nate and John always say, one day you're going to say something that's going to get you in trouble. You're going to get canceled because you're just too wild. And I'm like, nah, bro, you only get canceled if you let them cancel you. Like all the stuff I say, like that's why you watch me probably because you never know what I'm going to say next. But this story, like I said, it happened on last Saturday Spawncast, and it doesn't really involve me, but the funny thing is all these people that have been talking about it have to use a clip to sort of show the story, and nobody else on camera or was on camera besides me on the after show. So it's just me up on the screen, and I give some back and forth with it, but essentially what happened was Miss Click is a homie. I look at her like a stepsister. Granted, I wouldn't date her or anything like that, but if she was taking a shower, and, I would take a look. It's not blood. It's a stepsister. I mean, just taking a peek. But Click was on there. And, I like her, even though people think we don't get along. Like, I sometimes say things to annoy people on the Spawncast because I feel like it makes for a better show. It makes for a more entertaining show. If everybody got along, it would be like a good vibes gaming thing or a kind of funny thing. And no disrespect to those podcasts, but for me, when everyone just sort of has a hive mind, it's like, well, what are we even discussing? Like, I like the back and forth, and that's probably why I love Weapon Wheel so much, because they've had some iconic moments throughout history of their panelists going back and forth. But I sometimes feed into, especially Click and OJ, because I know what to say to annoy them. But Click was on, and she was like, hey, can I talk about G4? I was like, okay, you can talk about whatever you want. This is an open air. I literally just wrapped up a story talking about when I was in high school and I got in a car accident and I wasn't hurt and I faked an injury to go to the hospital to get some pain pills. Like, whatever you got to say about G4, you go right ahead, dear. The floor is yours. And Miss Click told a story about how she actually interviewed for G4 before obviously they shut down. This was when they were first rebooting as to be an on-air personality, which she would have killed it. Like, she would have killed it. especially when you look at the people that they hired, like just from an optics perspective, like, and she's got a brain too. Like, I think she would have done phenomenal in that role, but they asked her a specific question about Batman and why should Batman be canceled? And she was very confused by the subject. And the person interviewing her, which was a white dude, was like, because he's rich and white, and he sort of skates along the lines of what you can and can't do. And if it was a person of color, they wouldn't be allowed to get away with what Batman does. And I, of course, if you know how I view things, I thought that was the stupidest thing ever. I thought, like, when you look at Batman, did you ever think, you know what? I think this Batman guy, he's a little bit racist. You know, he's a little bit of a racist. Like, no, everyone loves Batman. Everyone growing up loves Batman. No matter what race you are, religion you are, what creed you are, what sexual preference you have, you love Batman. It's Batman, for Christ's sakes. And so this conversation went on and she was very confused by it. Then they asked her who's another superhero that should be canceled. And she said the Punisher because she thought that was the right answer. But I said in reply, I was like, no, I feel like the right answer was Spider-Man, because Spider-Man, works with the NYPD. And, every time a Spider-Man game comes out, places like Kotaku run articles about how it's disgusting that Spider-Man works for the NPD. And not to get too off topic, but the thing that drives me nuts about that is I have had more negative interactions with police than probably all those people combined. I've literally had my front door kicked in at 6:30 in the morning. I am definitely not someone who's just like, overly exuberant about cops and like, oh, I love cops. No. Far from it. Trust me, I have some stories I can tell. But in the same time, it's like, there's good people and bad people, no matter what situation you're in. You would try to think that, the NYPD is full of good people, but, in reality, that's not the case. There's always going to be bad people in a job. Just like, you go to work, there's just some asshole at your work that you don't like. But like I said, not to veer off the subject of it, but I just think it's so ridiculous because my point was, this is fiction. Spider-Man is not real. Spider-Man is not a real, although there is a Harlem Spider-Man who walks around with a New York hat on, a do-rag, a bottle of Henny and Tim's. Shout outs to the Harlem Spider-Man. I love that dude. Make sure you watch Side Talk NYC. Great channel on YouTube. But Spider-Man is not a real person. Spider-Man is not a real person working with the NYPD. So it's just like, it's such a logical fallacy to me for them to make it. So we had this conversation that I was just like, okay, this is a typical type of conversation we have on there. This is the typical type of thing because I am very generous with what's allowed to be said in the chat. As long as you're not being like a racist homophobe or something like that, you can say whatever you want in the chat. You can ask whatever questions you want and we'll try to answer them. So I didn't make a big deal of it. I didn't think it was a big deal. I don't think she thought it was a big deal. But like I said, over the past 24 hours, this story has been blowing up. Like The Quartering, who is a very large YouTube channel, who has a very dedicated audience, made a video on it. And one of my buddies sent me the link and I was like, what? And I watched the video and there's my stupid face with the vape on this video. And like, I started researching and all these other channels were making videos about it. Websites were writing stories about it, like breaking down, what was said in the conversation in a text form. And I'm sitting there thinking, I literally just told a story about how I faked an injury to go to the hospital when I got in a car accident, and then I called out of work, and then I went to the beach for that weekend with two of my friends, and we did all this debauchery stuff. But you had to listen to that before you got into the story that everyone is running with, the story that's making headlines right now. So I like it. I like it, honestly. Like I said, some of these channels, they make videos I don't necessarily disagree with, but, it's interesting to me. I think the thing that I like about it is, like, even though it's such a stupid show, the after show is stupid. And, like, I design it to be stupid. I want to have fun on there. But the fact that, like, people listen to that show to the point of where stories come from it, breaking news stories come from it, that everyone has to talk about now, like, that's an honor, man. Like that's a legitimate honor that people care that much about what is said on my stupid little after show. And so I just wanted to clear the air about the controversy and honestly just fill you guys in about what's going on. So if you see a video pop up on YouTube, you see a website writing an article about G4 TV and Batman, you know, within the next few days, that's our story. That's our story from that show. The big controversy that everyone is talking about came from my stupid little show. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Yeah, just keep that in mind. You know, if you see that, be sure to drop some RGT85s in the comment section of whatever video or website article that is. Let them know where they can find me since they're talking about me. And thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you guys for your consistent support on this channel. We're wrapping up yet another year, man. 2022 is almost done. Life is great, and life is great because you guys watch me and you guys support me. I love all of you. Enjoy the controversy. Enjoy the drama. No matter what you could say about me, you could think I'm the absolute biggest piece of shit in the world. Something I do will get people talking, whether it's talking about Nintendo Switch sales. I see you, Switch Force. Shout outs to Switch Force. He's a good dude. Don't give him no shit. Whether it, you know, it's that, whether it's Switch stuff or video game stuff or now this, I get people talking. I mean, it's fun. Let's have some conversations. Let's enjoy life. It's the internet. It's not a real place. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.